Prop 22 is coming for you and most likely your job. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and Prop 22 was a cancer on the rideshare community, not the companies. Prop 22 is actually very good for the companies, but for the drivers, Prop 22 was a major goose egg. Anyone who voted for it, I personally believe, was a fool. I've done many videos about it, and it was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back on me talking about the gig economy and drivers' rights. Basically, you guys can't vote for your own self-interests. Why should I fight for yours? But you know what else is going on here with Prop 22? Prop 22 is also affecting people that drivers either were not aware it would be affecting or frankly did not care that it was to be affected. Like me and Dark Road Run, when we did a little, back and forth, one of the things that he said was, what is the Prop 22 version for retailers like Target, Walmart, grocery stores, where you can get rid of your minimum wage labor and get less than minimum wage labor per hour? Like, where is that bill? Apparently, it was Prop 22. Now, we already heard that Vons, well, not Vons per se, but Albertsons, the Albertsons company, this is Vons, Albertsons, Pavilion, whatever falls under Albertsons umbrellas, was going to be getting rid of their unionized delivery drivers in order to do, DoorDash. They would be delivering food exclusively through DoorDash, exclusively through the gig economy, at least in California, where Prop 22 is legal and gives them the freedom to do this. Now, some of you might be saying at this point, well, tush, you know what? I make more than $2,000 a day or whatever crazy randomly high number it is, and hey, if you want to be smart about this, you will potentially make more money than those unionized jobs would pay. And my response, of course, is really, because that's exactly why Albertsons decided they wanted to get rid of their full-time employees for gig work, because it was going to cost them more money in the long run. I mean, seriously. So anyway, this article from KQED has done a very good job at highlighting exactly the damage that Prop 22 has already inflicted on jobs and the damage it's going to do. Now let's scroll down a little bit more because, the first few paragraphs, too long, didn't read. A guy came in to find out that his job, along with hundreds of others, would be lost. This is the guy, by the way. And now, he did say one thing that I think, of course, has to be addressed. He said, if I were able to talk to them, I would just ask them why. Why did the cost analyst on this and deem that it was more cost efficient to go with independent contractors and the people we already have that are there day in and day out, blood, sweat, and tears, going through it? The answer is because, obviously, whoever made this call looked at a spreadsheet. They didn't look at the human costs, and they don't care about the human costs. So let's continue. Vons is one of the many grocery stores chains owned by Albertsons, the second largest grocery company in the world. Earlier this month, Albertsons announced it would discontinue its in-house delivery services in parts of California and other states starting late February. Other states being that they're waiting for, their own version of Prop 22 to show. The company has not specified how many delivery employees will be replaced by DoorDash contractors, but the United Food and Commercial Workers Union estimate it will be in the high hundreds. The decision will allow us to compete in the growing home delivery market more efficiently, Albertsons spokeswoman Christine Wilcox said in a statement. She added, Albertson Company Divisions plans to offer positions to each impacted associate. So basically, if you are a driver, you're going to become maybe you'll get offered to be a cashier or something. Granted, being a cashier, you make more money than you would expect being a cashier at a Vons, but still, not all those people are going to get offered jobs. And some of them might be offered janitorial work or other non-unionized positions where they will make less than what they were making as a driver. The decision will allow us to complete the growing home delivery market more efficiently. I'm just going to say, Albertsons, you're probably not thinking that through. Because again, it's not your service you're using. You are contracting DoorDash. And DoorDash, let's say this thing is a success. Let's say, hey, doing it through DoorDash works very well. People are having food delivered more through DoorDash. What's going to happen? Well, DoorDash is going to hike your fees. And once they hike your fees, then you've got to basically either partner with someone else like Instacart, or you've got to make your own system, and that will cost you more money in the long run. Going to gig work is never a solution. It's a temporary relief to what's going to be a major headache later on. Anyway, Wilcox did not respond to requests for clarification on the nature of these jobs and the process by which they will be offered to delivery employees like Neil. The company has also not provided proof of any legal commitment to offering new jobs or any guarantees of equivalent pay, benefits, and job locations. The replacement of employees by contractors is exactly what labor advocates warned would happen with Prop 22, which California voters approved in November. Now, Veena Dubal, a UC Hastings law professor, said, "I'm not surprised that it happened this quickly, because what the Proposition 22 worker category that was created does is significantly lower labor costs for corporations." Yeah, corporations, not consumers. By the way, I don't know if I'll make another video about this. I mean, I almost want to just to stick it to them, but for all the people who voted yes on Prop 22 because you were afraid your Uber ride was going to cost more money, joke's on you. It's going to cost more money anyway, but it's going to save the corporations a lot of money. Anyway, Proposition 22 creates a new sub-employee category that allows app-based delivery and transportation gig companies to legally deny workers access to employee benefits like overtime, unemployment insurance, and a guaranteed minimum wage. Instead, companies have to offer workers in this category certain watered-down employee benefits like healthcare subsidies and the option to purchase insurance, an option you, by the way, already had before Prop 22. It just cost a lot of money. Oh, will it cost less money with Prop 22? No, it won't. The proposition was written by DoorDash. Interesting. Look, DoorDash is actually benefiting from this law. Like right away, like they already, screwed their own drivers, and now they screwed drivers for other companies, and now they're taking it. Go fig. Anyway, the proposition was written by DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, and other gig companies, which collectively spent over $200 million on the campaign, making it the most expensive ballot measure in state history. Now that the measure is law, it has nullified recent efforts by all three branches of California government to force gig companies to classify their workers as employees. Dubal says logistics and delivery employees will be the first to lose their jobs, and in fact, they will just be the first to lose their jobs. As she says, Proposition 22 is essentially a blueprint for how to lower labor standards across the board. For those who have been thinking of this as a whole different type of work, as something that would never affect them, this is really the time to start paying attention. This model of work is coming for you and your job. Venture capitalists already see opportunity. For Sean Carolan, for example, is a partner of Venlo Mentors. In a recent opinion piece titled "What Proposition 22 Now Makes Possible," published on The Information, he said there's potential for this new labor category to extend to fields like nursing, executive assistance, tutoring, programming, agricultural work, and even zookeeping. And the way this would probably work, just because I've been part of the gig economy. So here's the funny thing. AB 5 actually makes it difficult for nurses to work in California because, they're doing self-employed work and they don't have access to benefits and things like that. Now, California passed AB 5 to screw Uber and Lyft. Basically, no, you're screwing your workers, so we're going to screw you and we're going to get our money, by the way. But they also affected like musicians and nurses. Like some nurses and some doctoral jobs like psychiatrists are finding their hands really tied on work because they are true independent contractors. And I know everyone like under Kaiser, they're all covered. What about like Hoag Hospital? Like, Hoag isn't going to give benefits to all these nursing positions because they don't need to. Like, nursing is an independent contractor job for the most part. Now the independent contractors can't do this work on their own because their employers aren't going to give them the benefits. But now, say an Uber or DoorDash can come along, they can create the gig economy for nursing, and now you can do nursing work through the gig companies. But of course, you're going to make less money than you did before because the gig companies determine what you're going to make and what you're not going to make. So, Yeah, you can see how this is going to get ugly real fast. And corporations, they're going to look at that and they're going to say, hey, farming out to gig work. Farming out to gig work. Uber's about to make a lot of money. Executives at most gig companies have already described their business as platforms that connect independent workers to customers. But that argument doesn't add up for David Weil, Dean of the Heller School for Social Policy and Management at Brandeis University. Even though the work is through an app, he says, the business strategy is nothing new. As he says, it is just a part of the evolution of the erosion of workplace standards that has happened in lots of different ways. Weil came up with the term fissuring to describe what's happening to American workplaces. Since the 1970s, executives have increasingly replaced full-time employee jobs with part-time, subcontracted, and outsourced work. Weil says gig companies are just pushing that fissuring further by labeling their workers independent contractors. As he says, they are using the platform as a way to get out of the obligation of actually treating those workers as employees. It's not good, guys. Prop 22 did more than just screw you. You screwed other people that did not want this. And you know what? I'm sorry. I know this is like almost a childish argument when it's like, well, they say I'm an employee, but I want to be an independent contractor. Well, guess what? They were here first. They had the system. You decided to screw it up. And you know what? You didn't even screw it up for anything better. You screwed it up to make it worse. DoorDash declined an interview with KQED. Of course they did. But in a statement, a spokesperson said the company provided a vital service. A vital service. Yeah, before I even read the statement, let me point out, we lived without DoorDash for quite a long time. DoorDash is pretty darn new, and we could live without them going forward. As they say, DoorDash has always supported local economies, and as e-commerce and delivery have become even more important for many businesses during these challenging times, we remain committed to helping brick-and-mortar local merchants reach consumers with the best of their neighborhood, DoorDash spokesperson Taylor Bennett said in a press release. So does that include how you charge exorbitant fees, to which I believe you're one of the companies getting sued for they're not in Canada, but like Uber Eats is getting sued for the type of fees that you charge. And does that include the fact that you are a delivery person for companies and restaurants that did not want your business and did not want a middleman, and they took the flack when the service was bad? I don't know. Just a question. The news of Albertsons' new arrangement with DoorDash has spurred other grocery delivery workers in California to unionize, which is smart. I can't tell you how many times I've told people that I feel so lucky to have this job, said Leah Littlefield, a Bay Area delivery worker for Safeway, another grocery chain owned by Albertsons. Littlefield is one of 250 delivery workers for Safeway that just joined the United Food and Commercial Workers International Union. They first started organizing to receive guaranteed benefits, she says, after managers began blocking them from working the minimum number of hours required to qualify. The effort was well underway when they got wind of the DoorDash threat, which Littlefield says spurred workers to quickly finish unionizing. Workers wrote into their contract that employees could not have shifts replaced by DoorDash. Littlefield says, if we didn't have this contract, she says, I imagine we would have been laid off with everyone else. Now, I'm hoping that was a pretty broad way that the contract was written, because if you just say DoorDash, and again, Albertsons will probably go with like Instacart or Postmates, which is really Uber. Derek Neal was not part of a union. He's living out of his car, trying to figure out what to do next. He hopes he can find another job with some kind of safety net. In America, that is becoming harder and harder to find. And here's the funny thing. I don't even really like unions that much. And yet for situations like this is why unions become a thing, because people get screwed. These drivers, like people like him and him right there, they were making probably $15 to $20 an hour. They were getting benefits. They were getting overtime. They were getting holiday pay. And I'm sorry, but I don't care how much you're making on DoorDash. You are not making more than that. If you are in a freaky minority. Because, again, the amount of people that I have come across who have been able to prove to me that they are making what they say they are making, I can count on one hand. And no, the guy who says all the time how he like brags about, making $3,000 a week on Uber and DoorDash, but then refuses to actually send screenshots or anything. No, that person doesn't count. But now, here's the other question. This is now an interesting moral dilemma for, gig workers. Because gig workers did not like it. They did not take kindly to the unions and the teachers and the politicians coming into their field and saying that they could not make $3 a delivery. No. I am an independent contractor. I do not want to be unionized. I do not want to be an employee. And you have no right to tell me that I have to be. And yet, they voted for a bill that is now actually given companies to impose what the drivers want on their employees. And these are people who are saying, I don't want to be an independent contractor. I don't want to be a gig worker. I want to have my benefits. I want my security net. And gig workers just screwed them. Gig workers screwed them. They screwed themselves and they screwed other people. Like, I'm sorry, gig workers. I gotta say it as it is. You were awfully, awfully stupid. But how do you feel about that now? You didn't like it when they came and were telling you what to do, but is it okay now that you are going to them and telling them what they have to do? Okay, I know you're not doing it, the companies are doing it, but guess what? You gave them that tool. You gave them that tool. And here's the thing. Uber and Lyft and DoorDash, these are the companies that stand to make the most with this bill. And there's a reason they want to make it a nationwide thing. Basically, they are buying themselves a employment status protection where they can hire employees without calling them employees and giving them the just dues that they are served. And look, I was talking to a friend, won't say who it is because I think he's going to come on the channel at some point. Me and him were talking. He was for Prop 22. He called drivers who voted against it, a little ignorant, like they probably didn't do the research that they should have done. And let's just say he kind of had his livelihood taken away from him. And had Prop 22 not passed, he would have had a way to collect unemployment and actually maybe legally challenge the companies for getting rid of him even though he wasn't doing anything wrong. I don't know. I don't know. It's almost as if Prop 22 was never a good deal for the drivers. But I would like to know, what do you think ultimately? Who else do you think is going to join this? Do you think Target's going to jump on this? Walmart? I mean, Walmart's technically already using Postmates for their Walmart Plus grocery delivery service. So look, it's happening. It's happening. How many jobs with benefits and good pay have to be lost for you to realize that this was a bad deal the whole time? I'd love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.